This is you. Now behind you, there's your dad. Behind him, his dad. And behind him, a long, unbroken line of ancestors stretching back thousands, even millions of years. Keep going and you'll race past powdered wigs and knights in rusty armor, past cavemen with spears, all the way back to some half-naked hominids squatting in the mud, chewing on a bug, and desperately trying not to die before sunset. That guy? That's your ancestor. He doesn't have a name. He doesn't have shoes. He doesn't even know shoes can exist. And he has absolutely no idea that you, a distant descendant who gets mad when the Wi-Fi cuts out, will one day walk the earth. But here's the wild part. If even one of your ancestors had tripped at the wrong moment, been eaten by something with too many teeth, or just failed to land a mate because they had weird vibes, you would not exist. You are the product of relentless survival, blind luck, and biology that simply refused to quit. You are here because thousands of generations didn't die when they probably should have. You're not just lucky, you're the improbable outcome of a million near-deaths, disasters, and bad decisions that somehow worked out. So let's rewind time and take a closer look at just how many times humanity, and your entire family tree, nearly got deleted from history. We're ranking 5 of the deadliest, most brutal periods in human history, from rough but manageable to start writing your will at birth. Our first stop is the last glacial maximum, about 20,000 years ago, when Earth turned into a refrigerator that no one could turn off. Picture this: enormous ice sheets, up to 2 miles thick, covering huge swaths of North America, Europe, and Asia. Global temperatures dropped by roughly 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, or 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. Most of the world became an Arctic wasteland where staying alive was less a daily goal and more a full-time profession. If you were alive then, your everyday to-do list looked like this. Don't freeze to death. Don't starve to death. Don't get eaten by something bigger than you. Forget modern comforts. Your house was probably a hut made from mammoth bones, insulated with hides. Your clothes? Animal skins sewn together with bone needles. And dinner? That was a 6-ton woolly mammoth you had to stab with a stick while avoiding being flattened. Even if you managed to avoid being impaled or mauled, something as minor as a small cut could become a death sentence, thanks to the complete lack of antibiotics or antiseptics. Medical treatment back then? Chew some bark, slap some moss on it, and hope the spirits were in a good mood. And yet, somehow, early humans adapted. They crafted tools, tamed fire, and even started creating art, like the stunning cave paintings in Lascaux, France, proof that even in the coldest, darkest times, people still found a way to create. Fast forward to about 12,000 years ago, when humans came up with what seemed like a revolutionary idea. What if we stopped chasing food and make food come to us? And just like that, agriculture was born. Sounds great, right? No more running after mammoths or scouring the woods for berries. Just chill in one place, plant some seeds, and harvest your own buffet. But the reality? It was a disaster with crops. Settling down brought people together in permanent communities, which sounds cozy until you realize it also created the perfect breeding ground for disease. Infectious illnesses, once rare among scattered hunter-gatherers, now spread like wildfire through cramped villages. Diets worsened too. Ancient farmers lived mostly on grains, which meant less protein, more malnutrition, and a lot more dental problems. Archaeologists have uncovered early farming skeletons with missing teeth, brittle bones, and signs of anemia. And then there was nature. One drought, one bad frost, or one biblical-level locust swarm could wipe out everything. Entire villages would starve while staring at their failed crops in disbelief. The shift to agriculture might have fueled civilization, but it also came with a price: shorter lifespans, worse health, and the birth of the never-ending grind we now call work. Now jump ahead to the 1200s, the age of empires and conquest. If you lived in Eurasia and saw a dust cloud rising on the horizon, you didn't have time to wonder what it was. You had minutes to pray before the Mongols showed up. Led by Genghis Khan, a man who viewed mercy as an unnecessary weakness, the Mongol Empire exploded across Asia and Europe with terrifying speed. Their military playbook was simple: arrive fast, hit hard, and leave absolutely nothing standing. They leveled entire cities. They didn't just conquer, they annihilated. Survivors, if any, were often used as human shields in the next battle. And don't underestimate them. Mongol horse archers could fire arrows with pinpoint accuracy while riding full speed. They invented mobile warfare before tanks were even a twinkle in history's eye. Historians estimate their invasions killed up to 11% of the entire world's population, at a time when there weren't many people to begin with. That's like erasing hundreds of millions of people today. If your ancestors lived anywhere near the Silk Road during this time, they either got incredibly lucky or they ran very, very fast. Next up, the Black Death, the greatest biological horror story ever told. In the mid-14th century, a mysterious sickness hitchhiked its way into Europe from Central Asia, carried by fleas riding on rats. What followed was an apocalyptic nightmare. The bubonic plague swept across the continent like a wildfire made of germs. People had no understanding of bacteria or viruses. Hygiene was non-existent, and the disease spread with terrifying ease, from touch, from breath, even from a shared cup. Symptoms were grotesque: massive, oozing buboes, swollen lymph nodes, high fevers, vomiting blood, and death within days. Once it reached your town, it was a game of chance, and most people lost. It's estimated that between 30% to 60% of Europe's population died in just a few short years. Entire towns vanished. Fields went untilled. Trade stopped. Religious panic spread. And doctors wore those now infamous bird masks filled with herbs, the 14th century version of "this might work." It wasn't just a pandemic, it was a civilizational collapse. Finally, the deadliest event on our list isn't a war, a disease, or an ice age. It's a volcano, one so massive, it nearly hit the reset button on all of humanity. Roughly 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano in present-day Indonesia erupted with a force that makes modern nukes look like party poppers. It spewed over 700 cubic miles of ash into the sky, enough to blanket entire continents. The eruption triggered what scientists call a volcanic winter, blocking sunlight for up to a decade. Global temperatures dropped by as much as 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Crops failed, ecosystems collapsed, and the world was plunged into a freezing darkness.